have a quorum. Ted Worcester, Laura Muir, Tara Perot, Barbara Boardman, and Marcia Smolin. And I'm filling in for Scott Simpson, who's on vacation. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I don't have any.
Okay, there's no adjustments to the agenda. Susan, are you up with us?
Am I what?
Are you up?
I'm ready, yes, thank you.
And are there any citizen comments that don't pertain to the two site applications? No, okay. Thank you. Okay, so under new business, we have a site plan review for outdoor restaurant at 122 Atlantic Highway.
We don't have our podium. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, podium.
Would you like to,
Select
It was
board
over
always-
there before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, select board always has it over
Throwing
there,
me
so
off, too.
I'm just not moving it back and forth
it's okay.
anymore.
I don't think you mind, do you?
No, not at all.
Let's shake it up.
I like this better.
All right, so, you came in for a pre-site review a couple weeks ago, and, we have, your application in front. Does anybody have any questions?
No, but why don't we let Bennett do a summary?
Do you want to do a
The
summary
project.
for us?
Sure. Excuse me. So basically, we just want to do a pizza night once a week, end of May to beginning of September at the 122 Atlantic Highway property. Sort of a community event. And I just, we had originally applied through a mass gathering, came for the pre-app, and it was decided by the planning board that we should apply as a temporary restaurant or an outdoor restaurant, essentially. Certainly have no intentions of doing business every night or all year round or anything like that. It's a very limited run, so.
So you're thinking once a week
Once a week in the summer.
in the summers?
Tuesdays, probably 3 hours or so.
And did you work out all of the details about getting cars in and out?
I mean, we have sort of the general outline on the site map. Obviously, it's gonna be, you know, I can't draw a little animated figure who's gonna be moving around with a parking vest on there, so it's a little bit hard to practically detail that, but my plan is to have someone sort of on that, making sure that people are moving safely and moving as little as possible.
So they're coming in and the parking area is right next to Route 1?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not, the idea is for them to be driving as little as possible on the property.
And that yellow area is where an emergency vehicle could go if
Yeah, I
needed.
haven't looked at this map for a couple weeks, but, yep.
Okay.
And that would be kept clear, off of the driveway all the way down to the barn where we've marked as a emergency vehicle turnaround.
Was there a need to check with the state at all? For,
Yeah, they're responsible for doing that, to make sure that the amount of traffic is sufficient for the driveway cut that's there. They had measured out the site distances, and they met our standards, which are similar to the state's. So it's just a matter of updating their own.
My understanding is that the change of view, when she had the kitchen store, it was, they applied for the change of use to use that road cut, and then it seems like the 100 car per hour is sort of the threshold for.
Yeah, you're under, we did the calculation, it was gonna be way
It wouldn't
under.
be anywhere near that.
so it's not required? Okay. remember how you calculated the size of your parking area. 100 cars times the 16,000 divided by, I mean,
Something
just
like that.
came up with,
Yep.
I mean, obviously you've got plenty of room to expand if you need to, so.
Yeah, we confirm.
I mean, I looked, I was chatting with Sarah at Topsail, and you guys approved her field as an overflow, because it seems about, roughly analogous.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else?
I just have a question. Max, on the information that you gave us, it says, because the traffic is directly from Route 1, the applicant needs to contact Maine DOT to ensure the access exit.
Yeah, we,
And that's what you're talking about right now, or is this
yeah, that's
something
what was
different?
talked about just a minute ago.
Okay, okay.
But as far as the town, we met compliance.
Yeah,
Yeah, keep in mind, this was written up assuming there wasn't a snowstorm that was going to mess up all the 14th. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So why would the information be different? What do you mean? What's the snowstorm have to do with it?
I sent this out much earlier in the month, so we
before
might have.
they checked it.
I
Yeah,
do
before
appreciate
we
you guys
checked. Yeah.
rescheduling this meeting.
There's someone who wants to discuss.
Can I just, sorry, one more second. Can I just follow up with the comments under here? Besides the kitchen underneath the tent, no other enclosures planned, and it says which grants the above waivers. Is that the case? The fact that it's not built?
Yeah, he's not building an actual,
Good.
he's not building an actual
Structure.
permanent structure. It's tents and canopies that are just gonna
Be mobile.
hold these things, correct?
As stated, yeah.
Was this also our original discussion? I believe we had said there were gonna be like, temporary bathroom facilities, and then going forward, then that would be, if it was a viable business, those were gonna be probably changed over to
I'm sure
standing
that would have
structures.
to be,
And that would be CEO
approved further down
approval.
the line.
I think that was the original discussion.
Yeah, they're.
but the intention, yeah, I mean, I'm really just asking, I mean, the plan is
To give it a whirl.
to use the rental porta potty system.
Their kitchen is a portable kitchen now, and that will be used on, instead of to a remote site, it'll just be used on this site.
So we're approving it to meet restaurant standards and.
Yeah, we don't really have a kit. That was the only way that this application for what he's proposing, that they could do on a regular basis. So it just fits our,
So many snowstorms, my mind's a little, I said so many snowstorms in between now and the last
Oh,
time we
yeah,
met,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
It's the light off the snow. that really gets me.
Really, it does, kind of blurs your memory. Okay.
I think there was a question from,
Oh, yeah.
Is the driveway staying the same?
yes.
There's no change in
Won't be
that or
altered,
anything else?
no.
It's not affecting the fields that are below you? You're staying up?
Yeah, and
basically where the
do you have a
buildings are.
copy, did you see
I
the map?
don't.
Can I show her this?
Yes?
Are you a neighbor?
I'm Bennett. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely. This is Donna Dow. I don't know what relation she is to Dana.
This is the area.
But
Sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law?
Yes.
Thank you, Ted.
So does she live here?
Everything's up.
Sarah, the other gentleman here had a question too. After that, the gentleman.
What do you live? Where do
Okay.
you live?
Thank you.
So, why don't you
Furniture.
give me your address and I'll drop one off for
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Sure.
So, did you get your question answered?
Yes, I did,
Oh,
yeah.
good, thank you. And you had a question?
Did you have a question also? No. Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
Can you think of one? Actually, never mind.
Matter of fact, I can. You haven't gone past the main DOT yet, so far as entrance and exit?
Well, it's already been it was already gone through a change of use in '93 or '94
was?
for the retail store that was there before, when it went from a residence to,
Okay.
Are you having any opportunity to put your customers under any sort of cover if it
None.
rains?
no.
No, okay.
Only
Bring-
one of
bring
the
your own
customers
umbrella.
allowed.
Hopefully it'll be nice
So
and
remember
sunny
that, Ted.
every
Fair enough, got it.
Yeah.
What was the question?
I was wondering if there's any covering for the customers.
Oh.
Bring your own umbrella.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Can make a killing on
Didn't receive
umbrella
any
sales.
comments
maybe.
I didn't receive any comments, so I have
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, does anyone on the planning board have comments?
I thought that when Ms. Montgomery was here, she said there was another entrance to this field. And I haven't seen it as I go by.
It's hard to
is there
see.
another
There's
entrance?
an entrance, it's a culvert. I
You're
don't-
not
I don't
planning
think
to
it's
use
ever-
that?
I don't think it's ever been used. It's
Okay.
not, I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe a farm tractor twice a year.
there's, all those fields shed right down to that spot, so it's, wouldn't be very functional without a lot of gravel. But no, we don't have any designs for that. Although I can't say that in the future she wouldn't
Yeah, done developed.
at some point for some reason, but
That's another
it's there.
Is it toward the Dow end of the lot?
It's right on the edge of the property. It's maybe right there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all these fields slope this way. So this is a pretty wet area.
Who owned the real heavy reeds down there?
Yeah,
Who owned those?
I don't know.
Somebody cut them down, and maybe it's the state highway department. They had a potential of being
No idea.
quite large.
We ready to vote?
Yes. I move we approve the application.
I second it.
Susan, did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
All in favor? Do I vote? Do I vote?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm stopping you.
Anybody abstaining?
Nobody.
Thank you.
We have to wait till when? May?
This is just one flaming hoop.
Remember the gluten-free pizza?
How are you going to advertise when you're open?
Probably use the various social media networks that we have and probably do a little old school postering and word of mouth usually works pretty well.
The aroma of the pizzas coming out of the.
Everybody reads the newspaper around here. It's great.
Thank you very much.
So do I get a card or something?
I'll have the
we
planning
have
board
to
members sign
sign.
the
Forget that.
copy that's gonna go on file, and I'll email you that copy.
Can we do that now?
Yes, we
Yeah.
usually pass it
I
around
just
now.
like to know.
Yeah, well, yep, so go ahead and,
Start or?
You start,
I'm
Sarah.
a business person.
Yep.
We like to know.
Oh, ye of little
Signed
faith.
on the line.
yep,
What's that?
You gotta sign, right?
Next one.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You say this is going to be Tuesday nights, 3 hours. From when to when?
I'm not exactly sure, so I'm not gonna say.
I mean, you saying, can I
That's
use your
okay.
pen because my.
In the
my-
evening, it'll be evening.
Yeah.
After 5.
Okay, and there's going to be live music.
God, I hope so.
I know some people that are interested in talking with you about
Good.
providing live music. Can they reach you at 122 Atlantic Highway? Is that
Yep,
where
and
your
I can give you my
office
phone number as well if you'd like
Okay,
to.
yeah.
529-2084.
is? Good. This woman stopped there and couldn't find anybody, so she said.
So, that's that. Okay.
You're a bond servant.
Our next, review is Is you, Melissa?
That's a
Mitchell?
boy. Just like last time.
Yeah.
Don't like this position.
Relax.
Y'all wanna know, all know what I want. And I want to do some boarding at my home to offset the grooming in the wintertime that slows way down. Home Monday through Sunday. I don't go anywhere. Don't see a problem with it. Customer right here, willing to back me. Probably could have filled this room, I think, if I wanted to, but then I'm looking at a lot more stress, so.
You want more stress?
So you're gonna have 4 pens, new pens? Is that what you do?
I want to put up 10 new pens.
10.
The 4 pens are for my grooming dogs. That's in the residential zone. What I want to do is add 10 to the rural zone.
And that's this one here?
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble reading the maps. Maybe you could just kind of go over them with us, if you would.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you just step up?
Yeah.
Ted, can I look over your shoulder?
Absolutely.
I don't see a map.
No, I don't have one. You've got,
I've got one here.
that's,
Okay.
that's where it's at.
More than
Oh,
one.
sure.
Okay. This is my existing building. This is the 4 pens that I have now. I want to extend the roof halfway out so that they'll have some shade.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So this area here is still open, so that they can see outside, romp in the flowers, or whatever they wanna do, if I let them out. This is cement, so
And
there's
when
not
you-
too much
But that's not
grass.
for 4 pens there?
That is for 4 pens, 10,
Okay.
2,
That's
4.
That's
That's the 4 that's in residential.
Okay, so show us,
I'd like to use that existing 4 pens until I get my 10 pens built.
okay.
See, I'm turning away customers for boarding, and I don't like it. And I don't know where to send them, nor what I want to send them.
So this is not connected to these 4 pens, the
No.
10 pens?
No, it's gonna be beyond,
Okay, and then,
on the back side of that building.
so this map I have trouble reading. So.
Building.
Here's
Okay,
Route 32.
this is my
The
garage.
existing building here?
This is my garage.
Okay, and this is your driveway coming
This is
in.
the driveway. I added all kinds of parking up here. Probably
Oh,
six vehicles could park there, plus my own.
Okay,
Then here's a walkway that goes down to the existing building.
so
Right
this whole
now-
thing is an existing building?
Yes, that's my grooming shop.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Right now, I wanna add a roof over those 4 pens, a half roof, over those 4 pens,
Yeah.
so that they have some shade.
Oh, and that's the other drawing we were just looking at?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
There are
okay.
an oak tree and a maple tree right here, so they're gonna hang over my building to shade them also.
Okay.
I have 2 skylights, so, you know.
So where are the
Where are the new
pens
ones?
going?
The new pens are gonna go out here
They
beyond the
asked
building.
to explain.
So I'm gonna add like 25 feet out here, and then the buildings will be, the pens will be in rural.
So you're gonna
And this
be
is the
adding
new
here.
building here?
Yes.
So why isn't
This
there a
is-
map that
this is
shows
the
the
existing
lot
building.
where the rural line is and everything? I mean, this is not a map.
This is,
This is a building
a
drawing.
different look
This
at
is
the
hard
4
to
pens
understand.
here.
This is
Alright.
like really hard to understand.
And this is a neighbor's house here?
Yes.
Then there's a
That's
field
up on the
on
corner.
the
She
back.
owns like .57 of an acre.
Okay, and here's an elevation of the new building.
Right. This will be the existing building. This is the 4 pens that go out that way. You can't see them, because these 10 pens are coming this way.
Okay.
Right, so the
Does that
10
make any
pens,
difference?
the 10 pens are, they're in front of, they're over here,
They're back here in rural.
over here. So when you're
Yes.
looking at that, those are behind.
Right.
Now, so this is in residential, this
Yes.
part, and then
this is rural.
25 feet or so
25 feet back here is rural,
and the 10 pens are going way back here.
in the rural area.
And how far are we from our side boundaries? Are we good?
Side
We need
You know,
I
30
we
didn't know
like-
anything about any side boundaries.
Do you mean
This
the
was
prop-
no-
Do you mean the property
Yeah.
lines? Yeah, it should be
This is a property line here.
the
From
ones that are outside.
driveway, yeah.
Something in our
Okay.
land use
That's the
ordinance
property
says
line?
250 feet specific to kennels, but I can't remember what the language was.
I have it here.
I think it was 250 from.
Okay, so I see 114 feet back from the road to that.
No, 114 feet covers from the corner of my home to
Oh,
there.
to there, okay.
They're 100,
And
100
then
yards.
this one is 200 and something to the corner of my house.
Kennels around shall be fenced to locate.
I'm 25 feet from being in a rural zone.
Yeah.
I mean, the 25 acres that I have,
Yeah.
almost all of it's in a rural zone.
But you're okay, like this
So-
10-unit thing is far enough from the side yard setbacks?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The,
My
69
property
feet on
line
one.
person over here
yes.
is going to be.
Because this is someone else's house right
Right,
here.
but my land comes out here and comes down
What
that
goes
way.
around the
And-
house?
And
To
it goes
answer
right
that-
around the house.
To answer that 250 feet,
I found it.
You
I was
found it?
looking at, yeah.
Well, could you read it out for us?
so this is on page 5-11, and I think this is the one you're talking about. Any kennels or runs shall be fenced if located within 250 feet of any property line. A kennel run shall be constructed of suitable material to provide for cleanliness, ease of maintenance, and noise control.
Okay. So can I ask a couple questions, or is this a bad, I don't know if we're
Go
still
ahead.
working through some of
No,
this.
this is
So was I correct in reading that the fencing was gonna be constructed of chain link?
Yes.
So how is the chain
With a
link going
cement
to
pad.
address the noise control?
If they're noisy, I bring them in.
This way.
I mean, I'm right there.
69.
Okay, bring them inside your
Bring
house?
them inside the kennel, and
Okay.
then that pen is shut.
And you have no isolation areas at this
I
time,
don't
correct?
have any isolation, don't wanna get into,
It was
yeah, the seclusion of it all. I'm afraid the animals are not gonna like it. Some dogs don't like to go out in those 4 pens now, they feel like they're being boarded. But I suppose, you just go to the bathroom, your mommy's coming to get you.
Speaking of going to the bathroom, what is the plan for waste control?
Well, at the time, I had been sending it to the dump. I didn't have a whole lot of waste, I mean, because I'm not boarding anybody. I have set up, and I've got the paperwork to do, what do you call it? Composting of the place.
Compost, indeed.
And that's about the best way to deal with it, for mass pooping.
Do you have any plans on other animals, cats or other animals?
Not at this time, the state law says I have to have a separate building for cats to be
I
housed
figured
in.
you had that well understood, thank you.
And, you know, I mean, if I was to get into grooming cats, I'd still have to have a separate room for them to be housed,
Wow,
even if they have a dog in the household. Some cats don't.
true. Yep.
You said there are 10 new pens?
Yes.
I only count 9.
Yeah, that was the
Well,
guidelines.
it's gotta be
I was
there
wondering
somewhere.
if she was addressing it as part of our ordinance as well. So it's good, the composting.
Yeah, you're right, I'll have to add another one.
So,
It's gonna add.
just doing this on faith,
Roll, but-
because I don't think, I think this map could have easily been corrected beforehand, so we know what we're doing, but.
And that one big pen may
This is
be
still
in
Max confirmed the
someday
measurements
outside
with her. I mean,
area to run.
Told her what to put on the map, so.
I mean, right now I'm leash walking them.
What map? This is drawings
But
of
when I
buildings.
get out there, I'm not gonna wanna
It
be
doesn't
in
show the
backyard.
over, doesn't even show the other.
So noise
piece of it.
control, just so, I'm curious, if you have 10 dogs and they're being noisy after 11 o'clock,
No.
Is this attached to, let me see yours, because I think this is.
The noise
two
ordinance and made it
sides.
supposed to be.
right, but if you're boarding, if you have the dogs overnight,
There somehow,
The
no, like
door will
here.
be down, doesn't install.
If she had to do
They have
something.
doggy doors in between.
Tax map.
Unless they chew through those pins,
Said
those
it
metal
was
doors.
25 feet.
I don't see it.
I-
That's just the elevation.
I can hear my neighbor's dog down the street.
From here,
I live in a rural area too,
Somewhere.
those nice wide open spaces,
Yeah,
it echoes.
And then
Neither one of my customers
fields and
never
gully,
complained.
but I don't,
Been in this business, grooming
just
dogs for 13 years in this town.
I don't think
Not
that's
one
anything.
complaint.
Oh,
ever.
maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing.
And I have kept dogs overnight to be boarded, to be groomed the next day. John Black, when I first started to make this business in this town, 13 years ago, he said you can keep 4 dogs overnight and it's not considered boarded because they're gonna be groomed the next day. So that's where the 4 pens came in. But I wanna get a roof over it. Because I'm just afraid that they're gonna climb that chain link and get out. And I don't wanna chase somebody else's dogs through town of Waldeboro.
Do you have any
Max, the
restrictions
neighbors
on
have
the
been notified?
The variety of
Neighbors
dogs.
have been
I will
notified.
not groom, I will not
There's
groom
one in
or,
the audience, and then I
or
have
any
one
attack animals.
I have only
That's
had one send me
enough.
a
Absolutely not.
Fair enough.
piece of contact and commented.
Are there any
Which
specific
I would
liability
have in your
insurances
files.
that you have to carry?
Oh,
because
okay.
of-
I,
What you
my
get-
insurance
Yeah,
is
that's
gonna
the
go up
only one I
$45 a year,
had
that
up
was
until
it.
tonight.
Okay, I didn't look through the stuff.
So, you know, I didn't see where that was, any call for alarm and $45. Nothing.
Have you ever had a serious disagreement with a pit bull?
I have.
Yes.
I have all my fingers.
You handled it. Good.
Just gotta be loud and abrupt.
And if you let the dogs out, they're fenced. I mean,
Yes.
you're not, they don't roam.
No.
Okay.
If they're roaming, they're on a leash and I'm hooked to it.
Okay.
I have had my boxer drag me through the field before.
But within the enclosure, you said it was a chain link fence that was only half roofed, so there is the possibility they could climb
There
out, as
is,
you
but
just
I will
noted.
put chain link on the top of it too. I'll cover that end that isn't. It's just I had to find a way to throw the snow out of it. And it's hard to throw over a roof.
Does it have to be on there?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, because you're right,
The only
dogs
thing
will
I
become very
would worry about
claustrophobic.
would be the German Shepherds that are trained to climb fences.
Is it 4 foot, 6 foot?
6 foot.
Yeah, okay.
And I may raise it, I don't know, 2 cement blocks higher than that, just so that I have, you know, no cage fighting.
Yep.
Amongst feet, I should say.
So, you know,
Get back to my plan, aren't you?
this Gmail, you know, is concerned.
Yeah, we should read
Yeah.
that if we're done with questions.
Yeah, I'll read that when any other citizen comments are done.
Oh.
Yeah, because I haven't read it.
I don't have any other questions.
Well, if there's anything from the crowd first. You know what I mean.
This is your chance.
Can I get a chance to stand behind that?
Can you?
Well, I can stand, yeah. First of all, I'm here on my own free will.
This is a good start.
Second of all, anytime anybody runs for office in this town, and they're in any kind of a debate or whatever, the subject of new business in town comes up. This certainly, if you guys see fit, will bring new business into town, because I don't know of any dog place that boards within about 15, I think I'm correct, 15 miles of Waldeboro.
Everybody wants to do day boards. They don't want to take your dog overnight.
Dr. Howard doesn't do that.
No.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I am a customer, a very satisfied customer, and what Melissa says she will do, she does do. She's fair in her prices, and she runs a clean establishment, and I don't know if you have any more questions of me, but,
What kind of dog do you have?
pardon me?
What kind of dog do you have?
I don't know, because the sheller didn't know. But
Heinz.
supposedly, he's a black lab mix.
Big and friendly,
He's not that big.
but
He's
friendly.
a bigger, yeah, very friendly.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to get a black lab, make sure that you know where Walmart is so you can buy enough tennis balls. That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
I mean, this isn't new to me. I worked in a boarding and grooming facility in Thomaston for 15 years.
Wow.
Bought that business and moved it to my home. But at the time, I couldn't do any boarding. So I just kept with the grooming, and, you know, people calling me, where do I board my dogs? Where do I board my dogs? I said, I don't know. Safe Harbor's 3 miles down the road from me in Bremen, and they've closed up. We got Perry Green out on Route 1, and he's been closed for years now.
I think Rockport are the closest areas.
There's Stillwater Farms up in Appleton or Union area, Hope area, but I think they've gone a different route also. I don't understand it, why nobody wants to watch anybody's dogs. don't get it. I've been around dogs my whole life. In fact, my dad was a dog groomer when I was a little girl. And he used to do it right down cellar. And I told him I was gonna do it when I got bigger.
A dream come true.
He still thinks I'm foolish.
I would like to say I do think the noise issue is important. I personally am not bothered too much by dogs barking, but I do live in a neighborhood where we've had many dog issues since I've lived there, and it's really uncomfortable because everybody wants to get along well with their neighbors. And a lot of people think this is the country, therefore their dog can do whatever they want. And there isn't really anyone effective to call to help out in that kind of situation. So let's suppose the dogs were noisier than you think they're going to, you know, let's suppose the noise was a problem. How, and your neighbor, I mean, I think what often happens in situations like this is that the neighbors don't complain, but they really are uncomfortable about it. And how do you, as someone who has dogs there all the time, how do you deal with that?
How do I deal with the noise?
What would you suggest? I mean, you
Are you-
might not even notice the noise if you're used to it, but your neighbors might.
Do you
I
think
hear
you're
that.
hearing dogs from inside houses in your neighborhood?
No, I'm not hearing, it's not a hearing issue in my neighborhood.
It's just wandering
Are you
around dogs.
prepared to
It's-
muzzle the dog?
I can say that
Not
personally,
about
I've
that,
heard
no.
dogs from inside
In fact, my
houses
dog
and
wears
have
shell
had
collar
some
for
of those
barking.
same
There's
issues.
People
That's a
are
good
away at
answer
work
right
or
there.
something.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't even
So
know the
she's
dogs are
there
barking.
all
You
the
didn't hear it,
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should I
that's fine.
read the quick
Yes,
citizen
please.
comment since it's similar to what you were asking?
Yeah, that's fine.
This is from Don Gregory and Lisa Tarka. I'm gonna skip the beginning half of it because it's all formality stuff. This is in regard to an application to operate a kennel at a property 459 Bremen Road, abutting our property at 439 Bremen Road. As I understand it, this application will be on the agenda at the town planning meeting on March 28th at 6 p.m. We cannot be there physically, so this note might be received instead. Our only comment, and we hope a small one, is to express a possible concern over barking noise. We don't have any details on the kennel plans, but we'd just like to express that the quiet countryside atmosphere is one of the very huge benefits that we value whenever we are in Waldoboro. We estimate that our house will be approximately 100 to 150 yards from the proposed kennel, so we hope there shouldn't be any extra noise resulting from housed animals. We trust that the property owners at 459 Bremen Road will take all reasonable care to keep the noise to a minimum, and would like to reserve a position to let the town know and re-express our concerns should we find the noise to be excessive in the future. Thanks for the opportunity to comment/contribute. Don Gregory and Lisa Tucker. And the applications should be available on the website, just if anyone is watching this, because apparently someone couldn't find the map to 122 Atlantic Highway. I just want to clarify that for any public viewing this.
And I will just point out, you know, if we go through land use standards, I recognize that you have had an existing business, but even in our current land use standards, or land use ordinance rather, even at home occupations, there are sections about home occupations under nuisance control. We look at noise, odors, smell. All of that is taken into account, even if you have had the business, and we do have to consider that going forward. Personal experience aside, we do have to take that into consideration because we certainly wouldn't want to have anything happen later.
My neighbor's brother moved in with them next door. He has not moved, he's moved out since. He has a 120-pound pit bull.
Oh, my.
Yes. I come around the corner, announced myself several times in their dooryard. I'm coming around the corner, it's me. And she met me and was fine until her owner said her name, and then she come up in my face. I said, I don't want this close to my grooming dogs. I said, I have poodles here who that dog may take offense to, and I can't guarantee that you're going to be watching her all the time. my dog's leashed. He says, well, I don't like the way your dog barks. I said, well, my dog is barking at a rock. That is her toy. So she's up there, rah, 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 at a rock. I put a shock collar on, it stopped.
Do you use any other means besides shock collars?
I have a bark control nuisance. It sounds like a smoke detector. And it catches their attention, and I
Okay.
said, no bark.
Okay.
But I mean, I've been with boarding dogs, like I said, 15 years before I bought this business. And
But
moved
there's
it
also a
here.
plethora of research saying that that's pretty cruel. So I just wanted to make sure that there are other ways of dealing with barking besides
Most
shock
definitely.
collar.
Most definitely.
Okay.
It smartened her up. They don't suggest that it be on any more than 10 hours a day, which she thinks she's still got it on. And I might have put it on her for 4 or 5 days. But she still thinks it's on there, and I says, you know, I can't control the zap because it's controlled by her noise. But she wasn't barking excessively at the neighborhood. She was talking to her rock.
This device is called a shock collar.
Yes.
How does it work?
There's 2 little points that go on their neck, that it's just like a regular collar that snaps on. There's 2 little points right here. As they bark, it gives them a little zap. If the barking consistent, then that zap gets stronger. Up into, I mean, she turned around and she growled, and she couldn't figure out what touched her.
Thank you.
But like I said, for 15 years I worked for Joan Sanborn, Sandhouse Kennels. I'd show up there at 7:30 in the morning if she had a full kennel full of dogs, and I let them all out. Yes, there's a little barking going on then, but then you're inside, you're cleaning their pens, you're setting up their food. Everybody wants their food, so the quiet ones get fed. Oh, whoa, I'm quiet, I get fed. Usually there isn't too much after that. I mean, once they get settled with who's in their pen or next to their pen, it's like, yeah, it's you.
So can I ask you, the maximum you'd be boarding overnight is 9?
I want to do 10.
Because I'm only
I
counting 9.
know, she saw 9 pens too.
Yeah, and then, so these other 4 that you're adding the new roof to, that's not an additional 4?
No, I want to save them for the grooming dogs. Right now, though, before the ground thaws out and I get that 10 pens set up, I would like to use those 4 pens, if I could.
Yeah.
But I've got to leave 1
But-
empty.
So it'd be a maximum 10?
Yes.
I appreciate your telling us that you could have problems with other people's dogs as well.
Yeah, I'm afraid I've got if you've ever seen Marley and Me or read the book, I've got Marley. She's a 65-pound dog and she's headstrong. I don't see anybody else taking her on. It was quite a project for me to take on. But I won't give her back. I won't give her back to the shelter for somebody else.
So I think that we can see that there might be a problem for you, okay? Because it's hard to control dogs from barking, and people have varying tolerance to barking.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And so I think that, you know, that this is an issue that we need to take seriously. Okay? If you have one of your neighbors that is concerned about this, okay? However, at the same time, as you indicated, it would be nice to, you know, welcome a new business, which is wonderful. So I'm just wondering how we can come to terms with that, because we have here a concerned neighbor. So.
Can I ask which side?
The address is 459 Bream.
439.
No, 439.
439.
Can I just make one comment? I think that as a board, we need to be very careful with what our ordinances say and actual phone calls of complaint versus people's feelings and how they make it hurt. That's not an ordinance, it's not the law. Unless they make a report, that's the only thing that we can go on.
Right.
So I think we just need to be very careful about that.
These are all, yeah, so we can go on performance
I know
standards
there's a
and,
noise control ordinance in effect and it's 10 o'clock.
Yep.
and there's
But I
nuisance
can-
control, which,
I
so we
can
need to address odors, smell, and
Say
everything
one
else.
person can be a nuisance on one side of me. Late parties, gunshots at midnight,
Ooh.
fireworks. That's on one side of me.
I don't
The
think
other
dog's
side, when I
barking.
walk down to the shop with my dog every morning, because she goes to the shop with me, I hear two little dogs up on the hill. And they don't be quiet, run and around that house. But it's a dog.
We've also in the past had a fair number of people in town that had hunting dogs. They were quite noisy also. And that was just part of the local culture.
May I comment again?
Please,
The
help.
the person who wrote that letter is 150 yards away.
Person says we estimate that our house will be approximately 100 to 150 yards from the proposed kennel.
And they're on the other side.
How inconvenienced can you be at 150 yards?
How sensitive can you be?
Travels, sound travels.
I just read the emails, nothing more.
No, it's not directed to you, I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah.
Of
So-
course you hear it.
So
Are you
who,
really inconvenienced by it?
so who would assess, you know, the loudness if someone complains? Who would assess the loudness? I mean, and how do they assess the loudness? I mean, you know, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah,
The sound, do they actually use a sound meter?
yeah, well, obviously, you know, when you would go, you would be at the mercy of the temperament of the dogs at the time. I guess that the first thing would be to alert the owner that they've gotten complaints and that, you know, it could be, and there may be a reason for it.
Oh, I already have some on my grooming list that I will not board,
Yeah.
Right.
only because I can't control their noise.
It's also important to note that, you know, in the past and in other communities, one of the biggest problems with kennels is noise and the potential for noise. That's why citing it either in an industrial zone or in a rural area where you're buffeted with trees or, you know, distance from other neighbors is the most ideal. But with that said too, is that, you know, complaints about noise, we would carry them directly, you know, to the owner to see if they can do something to mitigate that.
One person's noise can be another person's music. Some people love hearing a dog following a game trail or something.
When they're on a
Different-
coon, it's a
Exactly.
total different noise.
Exactly.
Total different noise.
Is there a buffer between their property and where the kennels will be set up?
My shop will be the buffer.
Your shop, okay.
Yes. My shop sits on the side, they're up on the hill.
Okay,
The guy that's over here that plays the loud music and all, he is at least, and he's gonna build on this side of his property, he's at least 200 feet from my property line.
And I think you had kind of started down this road, but I'll just say it because I'm normally the one that likes to be really, really blunt.
me too.
You know, you've had one neighbor send an email, and I don't think it's their issue. They have a right as an abutter to voice their concern, and people shouldn't feel silenced. You have other neighbors who might not have even realized that this was going on, even across the street, who might be affected. And it's more incumbent upon you as the applicant and upon this board to make sure that you're meeting the performance standards that are set out in the land use ordinance, as opposed to worrying about what one neighbor thinks or that this person is complaining or that, you know, this person's loud and has an issue with you now. I think that's accurate.
You've already aborted dogs from the grooming business.
Yes.
Overnight.
Yes.
Have you had any problems? with
Absolutely
noise
not in 13
complaints?
years.
As very affirmative.
Is that-
Absolutely not.
I move we approve the application.
I
Does anyone
second
have-
it.
oh,
I thank you.
I second it, but I wish that we had a better map to be reviewing. I can put that in the minutes.
This is the kitchen.
You say you would like that in the minutes?
I
You'd
would
a
like the
better
fact
map?
that I wish that the map was a little bit more comprehensive and easier to read, but.
I think it would be helpful if the map showed the position of the buildings relative to the property lines
Yeah,
on either side, just like a plot plan.
I mean,
Put it there.
So what you're saying is I didn't get your property lines from either side?
Yeah, just like
we
an
don't know how
overhead
far you are
view.
from your neighbor, other than him writing and tell us it's somewhere from 100 to 150 feet. We don't have any other way of gauging.
I get you.
gauging where you are on the property. I mean, your house
I'm-
might be all on one side, we have no idea.
Right, my house is in the middle of the property. It goes 300 feet back, 300 feet wide, 25 acres back. So I'm almost to Route 1. My house sits in the middle. My garage is behind the house. Those are the two little buildings that are colored. The existing building isn't colored, that's my shop. And that's at least 310 feet from the road, Route 32.
I believe you, I just wish it was here on the piece
I
of
hear
paper.
you.
It just
I
doesn't
I
matter
didn't
what
draw
I-
this out, so it was something my
No, it
son-in-law
isn't,
did.
it isn't your fault, but.
Did you tell us that you put the dogs inside a building at night, that they're,
They have their
they've got a
own
run,
pen.
and then there's a building?
They have their own pen
enclosure.
inside, and the adjacent pen outside is the indoor-outdoor area. So they go use outside to the party room, inside is the nap,
And you
beds.
put them inside as a matter of course
Yes.
at a certain hour
Yes.
of night,
Yes,
which is by 10 o'clock?
by 10 o'clock. I want to be in
Okay.
bed at 10:30. I start at 7:30.
And the good thing is you live there, so you can hear everything.
I'm
you
gonna
can
put in
control
a
it.
baby monitor, so I'm gonna know all the noise that's going on in there when the doors are shut. So, I'm gonna know.
I would comment that maybe Max needs to carefully consider the criteria under which this sort of application is defined. It appears the definition isn't quite as tight as it should be.
Yeah, we had talked about
The
that.
package, you mean, the overall package?
The details of the location of the business and how it relates to property lines around it and so on, buildings, et cetera.
Oh, so
Maybe that needs to be a
You're
little
talking
tighter.
When you're talking definition, are you talking about the map or are you talking about in the summary?
The map.
He hasn't got a map.
So it's only 2 weeks till our next meeting. Should we just vote on this at our next meeting when we have a better map in hand?
I thought you already motioned that.
I did.
Okay.
Okay.
I was moving that we accept it as presented. I just was saying that perhaps Max needs to have it a
Well,
little
you're
more.
probably gonna get a better picture when the ground thaws out and, I get stuff built. I'm gonna have to come in for a building permit to add on to this building to get out into there.
What if we,
Well,
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What if we approved the application but asked for a plot plan?
You mean
Site
similar to?
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If we could just, we could
Well, we
either,
can't sign, what are we gonna sign today? We're
I
gonna sign
know.
that,
I
with that?
know.
There's no title block, and what
Actually,
is we?
I actually had a title block on this one, similar to how I put one on the back of these
is
properties.
the
we're
title
asking for
block
something like
page that you have, is that a plot plan?
No, it's the
Oh.
same thing that you guys have. It was just,
So we're asking for this.
We are.
that is what you want.
That'd be,
So,
I think, more useful.
So does that mean we need to put this off and, put the vote off until next
Does 2 weeks
time?
hurt you? You're not pouring concrete in the next 2 weeks, are you?
No, I actually wanted to do some boarding of the April vacation dogs, but I'm not ready for that
Okay.
because of the weather.
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, you would table this to the next meeting with the
Okay.
request that they provide like a Google map or something.
Okay.
Okay.
And is that a motion?
You would, someone.
That's up to you.
Okay, so someone.
I'd retract mine and allow you to be more explicit.
Okay,
You've withdrawn your motion?
Yes.
yeah. And do we have a motion for the next step? Would you like to do?
How do we put this? The project has been discussed and it's generally approved pending a site map that shows your buildings, your project in relation to the side yard, the side setbacks.
lines.
Is it
and
generally approved? Yeah, I
approximately
wouldn't
where your rural, where the transition happens between residential and rural, that this new part of your business is in the rural district. You know, that kind of information. It's all on one page, not on 2 pages.
Well, I don't have a computer and I don't have access to this
Yeah.
stuff, so this is what I've got.
But I
Well-
think Max can help you.
Yeah, you can
Print
help
something out.
help her with that, right?
I didn't get all of that, Barbara. Do you care to restate that? The project decision has been deferred pending receipt of
Site plan,
a better site
a
plan.
more comprehensive site plan, yeah.
Is there
Barbara,
anything-
can you read that again, what you just said? I'm sorry.
I think for, yeah,
Just a
we,
minute.
What?
I wouldn't say anything about approval or disapproval.
yeah, just.
That it's been
totally
discussed.
deferred.
What I have written down
We're
as
tabling
what
it.
Barbara said is that the project has been discussed and the
Yeah.
decision has been deferred pending receipt of a better map or site plan showing the location of
Property
Yeah.
lines and setbacks, buildings.
Of what?
Buildings.
Of the project on the site, the
Showing.
proposed project on the site.
Of the what? The
Proposed project on the site. Does that make sense?
No.
It's fine.
Sorry about that.
You're
We wanna
calling
improve
these- You're calling these different pens the proposed project.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just having a hard time in the wintertime making the grooming suffice for what I need for money.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah. No, it'd be great to have the circus in town. I'm sure a lot of people
May I
would.
may I reread your remarks,
Yes,
see if they are accurate? You have, the project has been discussed, and a decision is being deferred pending receipt of a better map showing the location of the proposed project on the site. Is that
That's-
adequate?
Sounds good to me.
It's fine with me.
Awesome.
Just wanna come in, set up a time, and come in.
I have a question while he's doing that. I'm wondering, the kind of map that we've all received that we like, what kind of a map is that?
The Google Maps?
The Google map?
From Google Earth.
So I'm wondering if that's something that needs to go on the application itself. Like, if this is something that we like, then all applicants should have that information, so that we don't get these kind of maps.
Well, the thing is, she's got 25 acres, he's on 150 acres. So both those projects happen to be in the middle of plenty of land. So it doesn't always work for every project, you know,
Having the Google map, you mean?
yeah,
Oh,
unless you
okay.
also have the property boundaries. That is a service that you can get, and we don't have that.
Because I often find that's
Realtors have it.
it's a common thing that we're asking for, is always to redo the maps. And to me, it's kind of a waste of time. So why not have something on the application saying specifics, or an example, this is the kind that we're looking for?
Yeah, and I've been meaning to give us a couple of samples of the, at the office. And I
Just a
was asked to do
suggestion, it
that.
might help applicants, because I mean, I can't imagine, I wouldn't know.
You're looking for standardization of the
Yeah,
application.
give me an
Sure.
example of what you're looking for. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, because this is
yeah.
I'm tied up because I can't go to get a state license because I've got to have town approval. So, you gotta have a state license in order to board dogs.
Yep.
Not necessary for grooming, but for boarding, you've got to have it.
And is there something magical about the 10 number in terms of the state?
No,
No, it's just something you're comfortable with.
something I could handle on my own.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
There's a motion on the floor, I don't think it's been seconded or.
I seconded.
The
it.
motion's
did you
been
second?
withdrawn, as I understand, or at least the maker has withdrawn. I don't know what the seconder.
seconded.
You seconded it.
She's
second
seconding
her.
what you just read. of-
Okay.
I did.
And you made the motion? Okay, and Marcia seconded it.
Okay,
So we need to vote on that motion.
okay.
All in favor of,
And that's to bring this up at the next meeting?
Table
Okay,
With a map.
gotcha.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm seeing everybody in unanimous. Okay,
So all you gotta have from me is some property lines put on my map, or a whole new map, or
Do you
what's?
wanna, here, why don't you take Bennett's, well, I think Max, you can help her with this,
Yeah, I
right?
can- Yeah, and that's what I was just saying.
Max will help.
Just,
Yeah, Max will help you, and you can take Bennett's map just to get an idea.
Okay, yep,
Yeah, I've got a, I can have my copy here, whatever it is.
is that the,
That
Google
was-
map?
yeah, that was the restaurant that was just here, yeah.
What the heck happened to it? I just had it.
That's all right, Barbara.
That's all right,
yeah.
Max
okay.
can do it.
Yeah, he'll take care of it. It won't take long either.
So
and
we're all set.
can we tell Marcia when the next meeting is? Is it a month from now?
April 11th,
April 11th?
yes. April 11th.
That's
6
early, huh?
p.m.
Bill, you have all the kennel cases available, so we don't like reinvent the wheel. What? You have all the kennel cases available, so we don't, like, if you wanted to offer some guidance.
I still, one more time, sorry.
Like the kennel cases, existing kennel cases, you have all that information available,
That's an MUS.
What is that?
like around the state,
Yeah, no, got it. And you're
You mean in terms of samples?
Yeah, that's right, okay.
like case law and stuff like that.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see, yeah. All
Just,
right, all right.
just to be helpful. All
I
right.
I wasn't sure what you meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The lights, I can't hear.
No.
Damn, sorry.
You can't hear when the lights are on?
Any background noise, I can't.
We want to get you going in the right direction.
Sorry.
Well, I came in here sweating.
We're not that scary.
No, I have a problem with authority figures around the table.
I'm sorry. Well, we're nice authority figures. I don't even think we're authority figures, actually.
Well, you are when you're all on that side of the table and I'm standing here.
Oh, we try to be friendly.
It seems like it'll be a minor kind of thing to fix.
It'll be real quick.
I appreciate that, because I really want to send that application for the state license in, and I'm all on hold because of this, so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it shouldn't take long at all.
Yeah.
For you to get.
So you're anticipating we'd wrap this up totally on the 11th?
Yes.
It should. I would imagine something similar to what happened with Alan Beck's application,
Yep.
where you just saw the site map and just went through in 5 minutes.
Yep.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. No, I really don't want to set the neighborhood in a ruckus because of barking dogs, but
No, you
the
don't have to
neighbor
live
that's
there.
the closest,
I mean,
she doesn't complain. The other two on the other side that are the loud music, gunfire, fireworks, that's gonna be a problem for some of my boarding dogs who'll be scared. You know, thunder showers too. They're petrified of them. And I just crank the radio up and we stay inside together.
I had no problem with my neighbor's dog until it ended up in my yard a few times, so.
Well, I used to put my little dog up in the window and tap on the window because the neighbor's Rottweiler would come over. Because my driveway was plowed, she'd be leaving her deposits in the plowed driveway and I just like, and she'd go, "Wow!" And you see that Rottweiler take right off of the neighbor's head. It's fun. A 10-pound dog and scares the crap out of this Rottweiler.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Do we don't have any pre-application, right, Max?
no pre-applications.
Okay,
Bill has to leave now, so
okay.
he has another meeting to get to.
Oh, Bill's leaving?
Okay, now.
Bill is leaving, yeah. He just has to, he needs to get to another meeting.
So are we supposed to look at this thing for Mr. Goldenson?
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
I'm
this
too.
might be a bribe, so I was gonna wait till afterwards. But
Wait.
I've had pens made.
Hey, we're recording, you're not supposed to do bribes yet.
That was gonna be a dog biscuit.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I actually thought it was gonna be a dog biscuit.
A dog biscuit? I don't make.
Next time out.
What's that?
Next time out.
Next time.
So we're not discussing this at all?
Edit that part.
No, and I can just get to that in a minute.
But the next item on the agenda is discussion on shoreland ordinance, and we're gonna do that next time, right?
Yeah, again, that,
I didn't get one of them pieces.
that was more of just if you wanted to set time. Again, this
You're
whole
awesome.
thing was sent out.
Be there for that.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So the next meeting, we'll review Goldenson and the shoreland zoning.
Next meeting, we'll do the site map for Melissa, and then we'll do Dan Goldenson's application, and then shoreline.
Can you explain why Dan has to come in to put an office in? Why is he-
Offices are required for planning board approval in the village district.
Really?
I think I said that in the summary.
Gotta
But this
change
is a
that.
much better plan.
And this April 11th is still at 6.
Yes.
Yep,
The bar.
still meet at 6.
Well, and
Okay,
it's
and,
it's in a space that hasn't been traditionally used as an office space, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so he would
Yes.
need to come before.
Okay. And, so next thing is the minutes from,
February 14th.
Yep, good to see you. Yep.
Thank
good to
you.
see
Pass that out.
Thank you.
thank you.
while you're quickly doing that,
Does anyone have any comments, questions right off the bat?
Nope.
I read it through, I didn't see anything, but we know what a good proofreader is. Susan, did Scott read these over and did you, to discuss, did he have any?
I don't remember.
Just
Isn't
ask
that,
him,
isn't
Susan.
that awful? I don't even remember whether I sent them both to Scott and to Max at the same time, or whether I sent it first to Scott and then he sent it. When did you all receive this? Have you seen this before, 2 days before now? You've seen this a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty sure that that Scott has seen it.
Probably.
I think so, he usually reads them right
He's
off.
usually the one who distributes it, I think, rather than Max. That's the impression I get.
Yeah, I think he saw it, because I remember reading his email, and he said that he went through it, and I got it from him. I read it off of his email initially.
Okay, all right, so we know he's read it and.
I would
has
think.
a
Seems so.
comment.
Maybe Max has a record of when this was distributed.
What happened?
Evidently, this was sent with the packet for today's meeting.
Right,
Yep.
and which is
What, a
dated
week ago.
March 5th on my package.
What happened to Max?
I don't know.
Everyone's gone.
Balin.
You guys are still here? All right, so.
We just wanted to know if you had any comments about the minutes.
I had nothing on the minutes.
Okay. Do we want to approve the minutes? Do people need more
Sure.
time?
You guys are still talking about the minutes?
Get it out of the way.
I move to approve the minutes as is.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Oh, I wasn't here. Sorry.
You were here in spirit.
That's right, I was.
Susan, did you get that? Laura's abstaining.
Yeah.
Laura's
I'm abstaining, yes, because I was not here.
Thank you, I didn't
Yeah,
get that.
no, that's fine. I wanted to make sure.
Is everybody else voting in favor?
Yes.
Except Laura? And it's the version that was distributed with the meeting materials for tonight's meeting that we're approving. Okay.
Okay, Dax, you're on.
All right, that should be pretty quick. First things first, the town is going through committee and board membership applications, and the terms for Laura, Sarah, and I believe Marcia are up this year. So what the town needs to know a little quickly is whether you want to continue being on the planning board or not.
And tell us the date we have to let them know.
From what Eileen told me, as soon as possible,
Oh, okay.
because the thing is, we don't want to, because your terms end at the end of June, we don't want to go through July where
You're
we're
looking for
missing a
people?
member.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So we need to know and it would have been preferable if this was done earlier in the month so that the town knows what to advertise for positions.
Oh, okay.
So if you are still interested in being in the planning board, just tell me and I can give you the application. You do have to go through the appointment process like the first time, but your position won't be advertised in the paper. But if you don't want to be part of the planning board for next year, then just say so and we will say at least one planning board member position is required to be filled.
And the application is the same form as ever?
Yes, and I have them right here.
Oh, okay, so
Do you have
could
to go through the interview again?
Yes. Because
Really?
again, because this is something that was desired to be done earlier in the month, it's kind of, we need to,
I think they maybe do it if they think that, they need to, but
Okay.
they don't always.
It just seems silly to me.
I'd agree.
Is it the selectmen that interview you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
At
two.
a regular selectmen's meeting?
No.
At a public meeting?
Individual, they meet.
Individually.
Yeah, make their own
Yeah.
time. But it doesn't always happen. If there's an issue.
Weird.
that
Yeah,
they want.
okay. Oh, okay, gotcha.
If you're suspect, they might interview.
I was a new person. They definitely interviewed me.
Max, I am interested.
Max, could we have copies?
yes.
Could we take copies of this?
So Marcia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And everyone else, I'll talk to you about this next year.
Does that mean you've been on for 3 years? Yay. 2 years?
No, I will have been on 2 years in August.
2 years?
So,
No,
They
I,
changed everything to sort of follow a more regular format, right? Matt?
I was filling in for someone.
Me too.
Somebody came out
Oh, okay.
within like
Mhm.
1 year or something.
Oh,
like
you
that.
filled in a term.
I filled
and-
in.
Oh, yeah.
so everyone else, you don't have to worry about anything, but for you three, an answer would be appreciated.
By the time
next
you leave
week-
today.
By maybe next week, next planning board meeting.
And if we brought it in, who do we give it? We give it to Liam, right?
Town manager.
Yeah, town manager, or you could just walk up to Eileen and say, I have this application, I wanna.
Oh, okay, so it's Eileen.
Eileen, Liam, me, whoever you wanna give it to.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. Do you have anything else for us?
Dan Goldenson's application's the only one that I had, so
Okay.
other than Melissa and her site map, it should just be Dan.
Okay,
No pre-applications, so probably gonna be a quick meeting.
okay.
Do you want
Grateful.
to say anything about the comprehensive plan meeting tomorrow night?
Oh, yeah, please do.
Yes, comprehensive plan meeting is tomorrow night, 6 PM,
Right here?
right here.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the same thing that I said last month when last meeting we had when I was handing out papers. If you're coming to the comprehensive plan thing, you're coming as your own individual self, not as a member of the planning board. Please keep that in mind.
What if you're on the comprehensive plan committee? Are you coming as an individual or a committee member?
It depends if you're making a comment from the audience saying how bad it is or not.
Okay.
So I have
I
two
think I
questions.
understand
Oh,
what you're
sorry.
saying.
So I have
To
two
like
questions.
walk out and give a caveat before you start reading your comment.
Yeah. You could have two flags, one individual citizen and the other
Yeah.
one is comprehensive.
come in a
plan.
Barbara,
disguise.
if you're up here saying how great it is, then you're on the comp.
But if you're over there-
on comp committee. If you're out there saying this doesn't go far enough or anything about that, then you're in the crowd.
Well, last night Katie said, she moved over there from being on the select board over here, and she moved over to the lectern.
We'll draw a line and you can just stand on that.
And she said, as a citizen, I'm talking as a citizen.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So, I know, that there's quite a bit of land usage in there, and I mean, this is just my ignorance, cause I don't know. When that was developed for the comprehensive plan, were we consulted at all on that, or like, so?
I'm on the committee. There's people
Okay.
who have had planning board experience on the committee. Well,
Okay.
Bill is always there, for instance.
Okay, so if anything didn't meet, the work that we've been doing with like the ordinances and all that stuff, that would have been brought up then?
Well, it's not about crunching the ordinances.
Okay.
The comprehensive plan is really sort of a description of general goals. And
Okay.
Then if the
Long-term
town,
planning.
and if the town approves them, then there's another committee formed that basically crafts the language for an
Yeah.
ordinance to move that in that direction, the comprehensive plan direction.
I just wanted to make sure that they aligned, if they have this
Yeah.
plan and yet it doesn't fit with our,
They
The
don't,
shoreline?
because we want to change the ordinances.
oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we have to know what we're heading for to change the ordinance towards that.
gotcha,
Yes.
That's
okay,
how it works.
okay,
So it's a long process.
yeah,
The other thing that's really critical, in my opinion, one reason why I'm involved, are we able to see into the future far enough to make it variable enough to be workable and something we want to live with? Very tricky talking to various people about what conditions they want to live under and what the long-term details are to make it function smoothly without creating difficulties.
Right. To have options without having it be a
Absolutely.
nuisance
Yes.
to your neighbor, yeah.
And coming from numerous cultures, the game gets a little tricky once in a while.
My other question was, if a select person makes a comment to a board member saying that their comments were inappropriate because they're on a board, what is the direction that I need to go in? Because I have been under that situation.
Are we talking about the comp plan? Or are we talking about?
Yep, the meeting. Even though I'm coming as a private citizen or public citizen and I serve on the board and I were to make a comment, I have had a select person come up and tell me that I was inappropriate because I'm on a board. So,
Can you just tell them that you're responding as a private citizen and not as a
I told her
board
this conversation was done and I will not
member? Yeah,
address this with you.
All right.
that's a good answer.
So I just want to know, if I come as a citizen, what do I do?
I think,
If you're sitting there,
Mhm.
you're a citizen.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know who specifically you're talking about. You shouldn't, the example I was thinking was back when there was the aquaculture center that was being debated in town. Scott, for example, stood up and made comments about it, so, what I interpreted was if, say, the aquaculture then came to the planning board, Scott is on the record saying all these things against it, so he should not be part of it.
Abstain.
He should abstain. and
But
not
if
be
he
part of
did that and a selectman still made comments to you, do I go to the town manager? I just want to be prepared, because if it happens again, this will be the second time that this has happened to me. So, I just want a direction of where to go in, I'm being prepared.
We could talk about that
Okay.
after the meeting.
Okay, I just didn't, I wanted to make sure nobody else was
That's a bit-
being put in that position.
When you come with a result, I'd like to hear it,
Yeah, I would
for
too.
me, because
That is a bit.
it's interesting. So maybe,
Sure.
does it make sense for her to talk to Julie,
Um,
to clarify?
again, we'll talk about this
Okay,
when the cameras are off, because
Yep.
I think I want to know the details about it, and I don't want
that makes sense.
whatever to be up there.
Would anyone like, are we ready to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
So,
Ted
I second
is
that.
making a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Laura's seconding. And
All
we're
in
all voting.
favor?
Can I do the
Sarah, I love it, you're having nice joint meetings.
Very, very efficient.
Good job.
Yay.